Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, come on in. Welcome to another exciting night of Sip and Chat. Listen, I'm so excited to be bringing before you guys tonight this gentleman. Listen, I love talking to him. He's a great reference for the community, especially for fathers. And I don't know. I can't say enough. I'm excited to see him and talk to him, and I hope you're excited too. You know what to do. Go on and share. Make sure you like, love, and share. Remember, there's somebody out here that's going to need this information, and T. Lynn doesn't know them, but guess who does? You do. So if you go on and share it, they can get the help they need tonight. But without any further ado, I'm going to bring on my friend, Mr. David Smith Sr. Welcome, David.
Hey, thank you so much, T. Lynn.
So welcome. Listen, we have such good chats. I said, I got to shut this chat down because if I don't, we're not going to have nothing to talk about on air because you have such great information and such a phenomenal story. But before we start tonight, what are you sipping on for our sip and chat?
So I got apple juice. No. It's tequila. Tequila is, if most people don't know, tequila is actually the healthy alcohol. It's what I call plant-based because it comes from the plant, the agave plant. So this is good for you.
All right.
Moderation.
In moderation. There you go. In moderation. But you're at home. You finished a long day of work. Because let me tell you, this man is going all week long. He's in meeting after meeting after meeting. And even tonight, it was flying in by the seat of your pants to get here. He told me, T, if we do it any later, I'm going to sleep. That's what he told me. So tonight, I'm enjoying some nice ginger beer, doing something different. So not the drink you're having, but the ginger beer.
Now, ginger beer, it has an interesting taste. Like I gotta, like when I have that taste, I can drink it.
Yeah, I most people would be like, so I make kombucha, and so a lot of people are like, well, does ginger beer taste like kombucha? I say, yeah, a little bit in a way, but I guess they're both their own acquired tastes when you think about it.
Yeah, it's definitely got an acquired taste. A lot of people don't they use the ginger beer when they make like those mules or something like that, like vodka.
Don't get me to telling them. Yeah, don't get me telling them. I don't know.
I thought you were maybe a bartender with all the roles that you have too.
List that I have to juggle, right? It would
Right.
seem so. No. Unfortunately, I am not. And me and alcohol, the older I get, the less me and alcohol get along. So it's like my body is like, not this time. So I'm enjoying the natural things such as water and your ginger beer and your kombuchas and your green teas. And so I've calmed down in my older age.
And I have too, but I knew that I needed a little bit after this week with the election and everything. I was like, you know what? I think I gotta call my friend Tequila and just to mellow me out.
I get it. The election that is still going on. So check this out. The reason why you are here is everybody knows that watches Sip and Chat. Sip and Chat is, with T. Lynn, of course, is an extension of the blog Recognizing the Real Me, which is all about coming together and talking about our journeys to authenticity. And as I've talked to David, because come to find out, David and I have known each other for well over 20 years now. But it was in our younger years. And so recently we connected for business, and it was like, oh yeah, it took me to see an older picture of him. It was like, wait a minute, I know you. But in life, we go through circumstances and situations that I think is a setup to bring us to our authentic selves. And your circumstance and situation with parenting I no doubt believe that it just propelled you to where you needed to be to help others. Like, I really truly believe you found your authentic path in all that you've been through. And so I was like, what better person to come on and talk to the fathers just about discovering yourself through parenting. So without further ado, I want you to share a little bit of your story, and how we got to where we are now.
So those that know me and even those that don't, we all have a story, and sometimes there's good parts of the book, and sometimes there's not so good parts, but it's all on how you write it, you know. And sometimes you have to write it for real, and like, so I could write a fiction or a fairy tale, but then that wouldn't be authentic. And so
Right.
my thing is, you know, when it comes to this whole thing around fatherhood and manhood, you know, men play a valuable role in the lives of their children, their family, and their community. And so I've always been that kind of man, you know, growing up, you know, even back in high school with, you know, with ROTC and things like that. And so, you know, but I was always community oriented, and so, and family oriented. And so my first son was born in 1998. And so, I mean, there's no parenting book. There's no father book could tell you how to be a father or how to be a parent. And you know, I lost my father when I was 12 years old, so passed away. So, you know, I always had a strong mother, you know, who played a valuable role in my life. But there's just something different when you have a father. So I told myself, I was like, never going to be absent in my children's lives. And I was there for my firstborn, and then a few years later, 2004, my youngest, you know, was born. But you know, the relationship between me and their mother was just not connected, you know, and so we decided to go our separate ways. And so, but I had to think about what was best for my children, you know, and so, you know, even though we didn't get along, you know, the children were, you know, back and forth between us. And so, long story short, it came down to somebody having to, you know, file for custody. And, you know, most men don't file for custody. They just, you know, let the mom do it, and then they just deal with what the
Right.
math is.
Right.
Knew that my children, well, my oldest son, especially because he was already in school and had been established, you know, that foundation that I needed to make sure he stayed, you know, with a structure. And so I had to file for custody because their mom was taking him out of school, and I was like, that's not best for him. And so that's when the fight came. And so it was, and I never wish anybody to have to go through the court system. If you can resolve this stuff through mediation, parent support,
to do that.
do it. But
Yeah.
I had to file for custody. It became a long fight, had some good things, had some bad things. I ended up getting custody, and then a couple years later they pulled ex parte, and you know, I lost custody, and then I had to fight for that. And you know, it was tough on my children, and it was tough for me, but more so my children. And so through that adversity, to, you know, see the high road and the low roads of the court system and custody and divorce, that's how I became an advocate, you know, fighting for, you know, children's rights, fathers' rights, parents' rights, you know, because, you know, there are women that get, you know, the short end of the stick as well. So,
Yeah.
but my mentor, you know, the late David L. Levy, was a national child advocate. And so we partnered up around 2000, I think it was like 2007, 2008, and formed the Children's Rights Fund to try to help with legislative and policy reform, you know, parenting support, mediation, things like that. And so, you know, and I was still fighting my own battles while I was helping others. Like, I'm sitting here helping other people get their stuff straight.
Right.
This is a mess. And so
Right.
it started to not become about me, but how I could help somebody so that they wouldn't face that. And so, like I said, everybody has a story, and you know, there's always good chapters and bad chapters. But you know, I would never, you know, take away the fact that, I wear a lot of roles and a lot of hats, but my most important hat is father and parent. And my kids are now 21 and 15. One thing I know I'll always be their father, and I'll always be their parent. And they know that I got them anytime. So, those challenges, it's all on how you navigate the road. And I could have easily gave up, sadly, like a lot of men do. I
if you
packed my bag, but I didn't.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I know that when it comes to parents that get together, sometimes, and you and I have talked about this before, sometimes you are not the right mate for one another. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be a horrible parent for your child. And sometimes as parents, we let our personal feelings and issues get in the way of what's best for our children. And divorce is never easy, number one. And it's certainly not easy when there's children involved. And sometimes we forget, in the midst of whatever we're going through as the parents, we forget how it's impacting the child. You know what I mean? And so I'm so glad that you are now helping, especially fathers, because they are so needed in the lives of their children. And so I'm glad to see that you are doing something to help bridge that gap and encourage them. Because just like you said, some of them are just like, the system has beat me down, and it's no point, they're going to always side with the mother. And it's not true. But if you're not making a move to help improve your situation, basically, if you're not getting involved and fighting, then it's going to go the way you're going to be handed whatever they give you. And
exactly.
so,
no, finish.
Yeah,
sorry.
I was just saying. So I'm glad to see that you've now gotten to a place, like, from your own situation. I think it even blessed you, because even though you were still going through your own situation, you still helped other people. And I believe that still helped you in your process as well, which is how you came out to be able to have the circumstances you have now.
Yeah, it definitely helped me, because I'll admit I went through a lot of feelings, and there was a lot of anger, a lot of hurt. And so, and being able to turn that negative energy into positive energy to, help others, let me see some of the situations that they were going through, that I could reflect on myself and say, you know what, how do I fix this with me? Because, I'm helping them. So I got to be able to lead by example, and I got to be able to help myself. And so it's always, hard when you're dealing with that situation, and you're losing a piece of yourself. And like I said, I always try to encourage men, especially, you don't know unless you try. You don't know the chance that you have unless you try. And yes, there is disadvantages. The system has changed a little bit. It needs more change. But if you don't make that effort to go out there and step forward, then they're going to put you in that statistic, in that category, that you're just a deadbeat dad, and you're not, trying to do anything, and that all you are is good is for a paycheck. And that's not. Dads are, good for many things. And, yes, financial support is important, but, that physical support and that
relationship
and that emotional support that you provide your children is much more greater. And that is the one reason why we're seeing so many children suffer with mental illness or suicide thoughts, because, divorce is one of the leading causes for youth suicide. So, and adults get caught up in that as well. So, it's we got to come now in the 21st century looking at how, whether you, like you said, if you don't get along with the adults don't get along, separate those ties, but don't separate the ties that you have to your kids.
Yeah. Please don't. Your children definitely need you. So let's talk a little bit about your organization. So you have the Children's Rights Fund. How can people get in contact with you if they are going through this and need help? What are good ways for them to get in touch with you for assistance?
So the best way, all my information is pretty much on the website, my email, my phone number. I mean, my phone number is public, so I have no problem, putting it out there, you know, um, and like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I tell people that I'm not a lawyer. I'm an advocate, but I'm here to advocate on your behalf because sometimes lawyers may not know the right strategy. They only know the law. They only know what they have to do to get you legally, but there's sometimes that you need an advocate that can help make them be creative and make them think a little different within the law to get you the things that you need. And so that's my role on how I play, as the advocate. But I also have resources. I have attorneys that work with men. I have, mental health support that work with families and children. And I have resources. So, I tell people, I'm like, don't tell me you can't do it, because if I give you a resource and you don't take the initiative to go after it, I mean, I'm giving you what you need. So, you have to do some work, and it's tough. I mean, because I didn't have a me when I was going through this. Like, I wish I had an advocate. I mean, I had to learn how to write, filings and petitions myself, and was being told that I wasn't doing it right when I was being told I was doing it right, but I didn't have the law to say, the legal background to say, no, this is right. I did it in procedure, but because I didn't have that, that legal knowledge, they were beating me up. I mean, and tossing my stuff out, and I kept tossing it right back. And I did win a couple motions, and things like that. But you have to educate yourself. You have to surround yourself with knowledgeable and just people that are going to support you, and give you right guidance. And and there are some good attorneys out there, and it is expensive. And so that's why I always suggest, if you can find like a parent coordinator or a mediator that can mediate that, and then you can draft it into a legal document, you can take it to the court yourself and file it, and go before a judge and say, hey, this is an agreed plan that we want to agree to, and make it, make it into an order.
And that's key. And that is key, because that gives you the footing that you need about a deal that works best for you, instead of being handed whatever someone wants to give you. So mediation is definitely a good key. And like David said earlier, if anything, try to mediate first. Try to work out a deal before you just give up.
Right.
What Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I was going to say, like, so, and sometimes mediation is hard when you have, people on different conflicts, but what I suggest, I always say, you write the best plan that you have that's best for your child. And if the other party, whether it's mom or dad, because I'm not, and then let them show that they're not capable. And then you take that to a court and you say, hey, I'm trying to put together a reasonable parenting plan, and submit it, and say, and then the judge looks and they ask, and they'll say, well, ma'am or sir, where is yours to this? And why are you not agreeing to this? And then you let, sometimes a judge, let them look at the discretion to say, hey, well, I see that the father will just, is putting together a plan. Why is mom not, putting together anything, or vice versa,
Right.
So I always suggest to them is try to draft a plan that's in the best for your child, not about you, because it's not about the parents. It's about the child. And sometimes you have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice the things once you have kids, and know that, you put your best forth to what's best for them, and not about, what you can get from the other parent, or how much time you can take away from them. That's not what it's about.
Yeah. So what would you say, in all that you've been through, what would you say was one of your biggest aha moments, or one of the biggest things that you learned about yourself during this process, during this journey?
I tell people it's still a learning process, because, I've come to a point now where, my children are really not, my oldest is 21 and he's out of it and he's back home with me. And my youngest is pretty much on decisions on when he wants to come and it's, what's he's doing. So, to know that my children are happy and that they can, have a voice and a say to say, you know what, I'm gonna go to dad's, I'm gonna go to mom's, I'm gonna stay here or I'm gonna go there and not have to worry about the stress. Cause I'll tell you, it was a fight and it got ugly. I mean, on both sides and, and it's, it's hard because like I said, your kids suffer. And so for me to be able to feel relaxed and know that my kids are happy and that, I don't have to worry about that system anymore and deal with it. And, there's still things that, sometimes, come up that you think, oh, and then I'm like, no, you know what? It's not worth it. You need to pick your battles and think about, what's best and what you're going to put your child through. Because, I see parents that just run their kids all the way through it till they're 18. And then they still control it after they're 18. And that kid is like so tired, but the parent hasn't let go. And, I tell parents, I'm like, when they become teenagers, they don't want to spend as much time with you anyways. And if you've hurt them and you've done things to them, they're definitely not going to want to spend time with you. And so it's cherish the moments that you have and try to rebuild and repair, those hurtful things and make them, know that they're important because, you only get that relationship with your child and once it's torn, it's hard to repair. So you want to be able to, make sure that you can, hold on to it and treasure it and have the best relationship, moving forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then what I do want to make sure we say for people who may have torn the relationship early on, know that it's mother or father, know that as long as you are still breathing, you still have an opportunity to go back and try to bridge that relationship. Like, and I feel like somebody needs to hear that. You didn't get it right. Nobody does. Like David said earlier, we're not perfect. We as parents, there's no handbook. Every child is different. Every circumstance is different. There is no handbook to tell you the perfect way to raise a child, nor is it a perfect way to tell you how to go through separation and or divorce. The only thing that we can tell you to do is to make sure that you're considering your child in the process and not just making it all about you, right? But even if you did go through it the harsh way, I'll call it the harsh way for the child, don't let any more time pass without trying to bridge that gap. There is still, as long as you're breathing, there's still an opportunity for you to go back and try to mend that relationship. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. I'm not even saying that the child is going to talk to you. But what I am saying is that at least you tried. Give it an honest effort. You'll be amazed at how that might heal you, how it might help you heal, as well as help your child heal.
Yeah, and especially if you've had a bond with your children and it just happened to be separated, not by your choice or they know, they know, they may be hurt, they may have influences by other people that are saying that you did this or you did that. But if you're able to connect with them and like you said, it's not easy because, sometimes they just don't want to be bothered with one, especially because then they start losing that trust. They start losing why did you put me through this or why did you do that? Because like I said, sometimes people manipulate and influence people. And so they get that in their brain. And so, and that's why it's always good that children, seek some type of some help when they're going through divorce or custody so that they're not influenced, or if they are being influenced or manipulated, that a professional can see that and read the signs. Because one of the biggest things that's out there parent alienation. And and that is one thing that a lot of parents deal with, and being alienated from a parent, and what that creates a psychological trauma and abuse on a child, when you alienate them from one parent or the other. And so that's another topic that, that's always been, ongoing with some parents. And a lot of men face it, and they feel like, the best thing for them to do is walk away. But, it may be easy for you to walk away, but trust me, your kid will not. They will not forgive you if you don't fight for them. And I always tell people, you're not fighting the parent, you're fighting for your right to your child that you have a legal right to.
Yes. 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 And you are so right. That is one of the things that most children feel like, why didn't you fight for me? Like, was I not worthy? Like, it causes your child to then have esteem issues, because why wasn't I worthy enough for you to fight for me? That is so important and so key. Man, yes. Sorry, I got for a second. Because it does.
And they do. They start to feel, like you said, their self-esteem, and they feel like they're less than, and that nobody wants them. And then what happens is they end up connecting to somebody that doesn't want them, that uses and abuses them. And then why, your child has run away or is doing, trafficking or in a drug, or whatever, I mean, that you definitely do not want to make your child not feel wanted, because they'll go to someone.
Somebody else, them streets will definitely make them feel like they're wanted and coddled, and will turn on them viciously in the process. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, our time is definitely winding down. But I always love talking to you. I really hope that our viewers that have tapped in tonight, like I said, it's called Recognizing the Real Me. That's the name of the blog. This is the extension of it. I hope someone tonight watching has recognized something about them that can help them in the process of your parenting. If you're going through a divorce, maybe you've heard something tonight that can help you get through the process, or make some shifts and some changes so that your children aren't suffering as badly, especially if you are a parent. I know that it's hard. I'm not saying to you at all that it is easy. I'm not saying that, because you also go through a trauma when you're going through breakups and divorce. Just as you are going through that, your child is suffering the same thing. But I love the example that David set. The address is right there at the bottom. Make sure you tap into the Children's Rights Fund. If you need help, get you an advocate to help you walk through the process. Don't just walk away from your children. Men, don't just walk away from your children. Go get an advocate to help you continue to be a father to your child, right? Without you, having to I'm sorry, I got tied up there for a second. But you still want to be a father to your child. Don't lose your right to your child just because you weren't the right mate for the other person. That's what I wanted to say. Don't do it.
Yeah, and I always appreciate, talking with T-Lynn, and giving me the opportunity and the platform, and I don't come on here for me, I come on here to be able to provide information and resources, and just, if anything, hope. I mean, hope that somebody can, see that, there was a father that was doing good, and that was initiating the effort to stay connected. And I actually had it. I had the custody, and then to get beat by the system that wasn't for me, and then to still be able to fight the system, to fight for what was important to me, which was what was best for my children. And so I know there are a lot of stories out there worse than mine. And so, I always just like to be able to provide an encouragement and a hope, and I don't have all the answers, but sometimes it's just being able to listen to somebody, and being able to share. And so I always try to provide, a listening ear when I can, because I know the hurt and the pain. I've been there. And so, And I always suggest that people surround themselves with good, positive people and men. Surround yourself with good, positive men, that are going to show you the right way, maybe mentor you, maybe give you some, hope, because they may have been through it. And so, that's all I want to share. And like I said, my email is, on the website, but my phone number is on there as well. And so if you send a text, just let me know who you are. And, I'm very busy, but I will always try to respond and schedule a time to talk when I can, but because we have to be able to support our children. I mean, the motto of the Children's Rights Fund is about serving children first, supporting family always. And my thing has always been about children, but children need their parents, children need their fathers, and they need to be connected to their other families. So, and I thank you, T. Lynn. It's always a pleasure to come on here and talk with you. And, and I don't want it to always be that we're talking about the custody in the court, because us men like to do good things too. Like we like to celebrate with. We like to have good, positive environments. And you can still do that when you're dealing with a court system. There's groups out there that get together as men and bring their kids and try to, do things in a positive way. So,
So make sure you connect with David if you need him. David, I am so grateful to you. Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for just being authentic in your process. Just gracious. I'm just grateful for you. But as you know, time always.
I can share another note real quick. Another note. And for those men out there, being authentic and being real, is important, because your children can tell when you're not. And so, so make sure that you are honest with them, that you are real with them, and that you give them the truth. Sometimes, they say the truth hurts, but it's better to tell them the truth than to tell them a lie and they see something that's not.
Yes. Truth. Well, I would say that I was going to ask you, did you have one more golden nugget for us before you left? And there was your golden nugget. So, time always flies when we're having fun. You got that golden nugget. Be authentic, because they know the truth. And thank you, David. Remember, guys, be sure to tap into David's. He left his contact information for you. Go to Children's Rights Fund.org if you need help. We have an advocate here to help you. Again, go ahead.
And they can find me on Facebook. My Facebook name is the same as what's underneath this screen. So it's David W. Smith Sr. So that'll link you to me, and then it'll link you to my pages. Absolutely.
Well, thank you again. And thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that this has helped somebody tonight. Remember, be courteous, be loving, and share out of love. Somebody else needs this information tonight. They need to hear David's story. Maybe it will encourage them to go as they go through their journey. Okay. So be caring and share, because guess what? I don't know who they are, but you do. And the only way they're going to get it is if you do what? If you share. So be sure to like, love, and share this episode tonight. Bless somebody, y'all. Don't be selfish. Share the good information. Share the story so that someone else can get the help they need. Okay. Well, remember, today is a great day to make a difference in the lives of those around you. Thank you so much again for tuning in tonight. I certainly appreciate you. David appreciates you. Reach out to him at the Children's Rights Fund.org, and we will see you guys next week on Sip and Chat with T. Lynn. Y'all have a great night now.